Sitting in a 4v3.
Everfrog Esports trying to find the angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a wall. They're gonna take flag. White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
A beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Cyberport is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. You're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Boom! Manages to find a 3.
Rio shoving this Lana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace.
Is yet another day here in CGL. I am so Abdan. I'm here with the other part of the Void, Gedster. And Ged, this is, considering you are new face to all the CGL madness, welcome on in. Because we've got an incredible game here tonight up in the NA Open. We've got Tarnished coming up against the #1 undefeated, no maps drop Boop Troop.
Yeah, this one's going to be a banger. I'm very excited to see this. I mean, I'm looking at the names on these rosters, and I recognize people. We have had a great game on stream already today, by the way. DYS budget approved in Zero Recall. Already playing earlier. It was a sweep, but definitely go back and check that one out because it was pretty fun. I will not lie. DYS putting on a great show. But on this stream, we still got 2 more matches for you today. Obviously, the aforementioned Tarnished and Boop Troop is what we are going to be bringing you. But Aura Fury and Diamond Eagles are going to be coming up right after this one. Bracket now. Just to show y'all what's going on here, the winner of this match is going to be going up against Subsun in winners round number 2 here, who put up a great performance up against Shiko no Keiji.
So there's an interesting situation here, Ged, because Boop Troop has just been pretty much undefeated, not really done much, no real problems, spotless. So they go on to play Subsun, have not played yet. If Tarnished somehow steal this away, Tarnish have played Subsun twice and not beat them. So this is the ultimate chance of anime-based redemption for Tarnish if they can get this. So a lot riding on this game, but particularly for Tarnish. So I actually am very curious to see how good their A game is today.
That is exciting, actually, because, I mean, if you're in the position of Tarnished, you want that revenge against Subsun. And, I mean, to have to go through a team as good as Boop Troop in order to get it, that is brutal, but it's exactly what I would want in a situation like this, right? Because if you want to earn that right to get that rematch, you have to earn that right.
Yeah, you don't get to be Rocky without putting in the montage and climbing the stairs and all of that. So it makes sense. You got to go through number one. You got to go through those top seeds. But because of that, Boop Troop will have the first map and mode pick while we're waiting on everything to get ready. They will also get first choice of ban, which tends to be a first choice of ban. And we've seen the meta kind of shaken up here, Ged. I don't really know exactly what teams necessarily want to be running. Some teams have found their stride. A lot of teams are still playing Zarya. A lot of teams are still trying to make dive work. We see a lot of Wrecking Ball, and it's Boop Troop, so we all kind of know what we're going to see. So I'm very curious to see if maybe they make like an offensive, kind of a protect ban instead to start off here.
Yeah, things have definitely been shaken up by this most recent patch. I mean, I think one of the bigger changes that I've seen talked about on Twitter and such is the tracer projectile size nerf, which I'm a little bit sad about as a tracer player myself. In the last series that I was able to cover here at CGL, we still saw a decent bit of tracer, but I think most of that can be chalked up to the fact that it was Evil of Quick Esports who was playing it, and he is quite good at the tracer. So,
yeah,
I mean, I don't think a projectile size nerf is going to affect him too much because he's cracked. But, a slightly lesser tracer player, like myself, for example, definitely going to be feeling that nerf.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what a lot of this patch did, is just kind of fine tune a lot of the skill expression. Like Tracer, if you're good at Tracer, this, like you said, that nerf is kind of meaningless. If you're good at, a lot of these other hit scans, Cassidy got a bit of a buff in these previous ones, and we've seen him come out a lot. We see Sojourn got a little bit of a tag not long ago either. Like, all these kinds of small fine tunings at this point have just been kind of to like really kind of make you work to get the full value, and then there's just the things where it's like Reaper just got absolutely gutted because that was way too dominant paired with Zarya, who also got a bit of a nerf. So it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of teams feel like they can get the value of.
Yep. We do have the location of our first battleground, and it will be Lijiang Tower. A fairly unsurprising pick. I feel like most of the time, if we're in a situation in CGL or something like this, usually it's going to be
it's we're playing Overwatch. Like, everybody, number one isn't always going to be Lijiang Tower. Come on, like, you and I could probably recite the next like 4 maps if we wanted to, except for the fact that there's like, we could probably pick the first like 4 maps if we need to. But
map 2, Suravasa.
It's probably gonna be Surabassa's in there, King's Row will get there, but we'll get to those later because right now we got Lijiang Tower. I do actually think the starting sub map will kind of matter. Something like Control Center really does kind of force a bit more of a ground game, really will kind of test your Cassidy players, your hit scans. So I do think that, kind of barring where we end up, it might actually make a little bit of an impact, but a lot on the line for both teams. So we're gonna have to see again what those bans look like, because I do think that is going to tell us a lot about how this first map plays off. That's been very common theme amongst these playoffs.
Yeah, and really amongst any Lijiang gameplay in general, we see a small difference in how teams play based on bans, and that's kind of the beauty of the system. But eventually, we are going to get into this one. However, unfortunately, we are experiencing a small rulebook issue, so we are going to send it to a very brief break. We'll be right back, everybody, with map 1.
Don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got it resolved. Everything's okay. Everything is fine. Nobody's house is burning down. Nobody's game is crashing. We're good. We're good. There's no emergency here. We're gonna play Overwatch. It's gonna be all right.
I say put down your pitchforks. Everything's going to be fine. In fact, we've even got bands ready for you, so we can even take a look at those incoming while everything is getting situated. You know, we kind of talked about this a little before that brief break, Ged, but I kind of feel like Tarnished have the better maybe understanding. Like Boop Troop has been around. We've seen them play and like Face It. You kind of know what they're going to do. So their pick would probably be, as I venture, yeah, I buy that. That makes total sense to me. Like, at least just all things considered.
Yeah, definitely tracks to take that hero of all of them off the board. Especially, I feel like Venture is one of those characters that even without like major changes in patches has evolved in a very interesting way over time, you know, just like this character definitely coming into their own over time, and Juno will be the band for Boop Troop, so two relatively new-ish characters to Overwatch off the board, but I mean, this kind of just tells me that they're looking to play some fairly standard stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have to assume Juno is also similarly a target ban because I've seen teams, you know, we got the changes to her ult and that may be it, but let's see who the teams are bringing in before we see that because maybe that'll explain these picks a little bit better.
Yeah, Tarnished. We're going to see a lineup consisting of Haunt, Pyro, Amnesia, Pika Pepper, and Levuaya here. It's going to be an interesting time here. I'm very curious.
I mean,
Levi.
look, yeah. I mean, look, we're at the open level. Like dive is kind of almost, I wouldn't say mandatory, but everybody, it's like the highest skill expression. So I'm not like none of these, you know, these desired heroes, you know, stand out as anything crazy. Especially the Lucio carry backline is getting a lot more play, particularly because Wu Yang got hit pretty hard with that nerf staff. So that none of that really surprised me. But let's jump over to Boop Troop. I think it's kind of as expected here. It's Constant Jeremy on the DPS line, Mari rounded on that tank regime, and Purple Salmon on the support line here. I mean, if you've been following any of these players, you kind of know what to expect out of Boop Troop. If you've been watching Face It, you kind of know what to expect. I don't know that this team really needs an introduction in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, no intro required, but they'll give you one. They'll give you one when they go into the server. They're good at the game, as it turns out. Yeah. And my eyes in particular are going to be on Mari, the tank player of Boop Troop. I have been familiar with Mari's game for a hot minute at this point, so very excited to see what she ends up rolling out with, because her ball, great. Her queen, great. If you need her to play a meta tank, great. And I am very excited to see what they end up like leaning into here.
Yeah, and I think Mari particularly given her abilities, we've all seen her in the Calling All Heroes circuit. Oh, we have some wrong bands.
Oh.
Excellent. Excellent. Look, all right, you know what? Look, you know what? You know what? I'm not gonna judge anybody. I literally did that a game ago when I was observing, so I can't talk anything. It happens to everybody. It'll take 2 seconds and we'll be back in. Although, like we had established earlier, Venture and Juno are banned. I don't know that like the Venture ban I feel like might be a little bit more impactful. The Juno ban I think is going to be the really interesting one, because like I said, Juno kind of did get the change to her ultimate. I don't know. Like I've not sat in these scrims, so I don't really know if we're finding that this is a lot of value. But considering how mobile a lot of these players are, like I feel like Juno's ult may not even be like that great right now. So it's kind of a tough. We're gonna really see, like, I think once we get to later games, if Tarnished ends up picking Juno, we'll kind of see how impactful that ban was.
And we'll definitely end up seeing. I think a lot of it also depends on what the tank line selection ends up being. And because we have to rehost, we are going to be starting on a different point. So not Garden, but Night Market this time around as our starting point for map number 1 here in this series. And okay, both teams initially showing the Orisa. Obviously, there is time for both of these teams to swap it up, but at this point, I kind of doubt it. If they're both showing it, then that probably means they're confident. There's no way. There's
yes,
no
there
way
is.
we're
Of course,
calling
there's.
it again.
Kedster, as we all know, the true enemy of any Overwatch player is ping. Literally, anybody who's ever had to play from Australia to anywhere else in the world knows that. So, you know, players are allowed to request that. We're allowed to embrace that because we want to make this as fair, balanced TMCR as we can be here at CGL. So we're going to move on over, shift all of our stuff over to, I think it's Chicago is the central server. I don't know. But somewhere in central US to kind of balance it out a little bit. And then we'll finally get in, and maybe we'll even see the 3rd sub map just to keep everybody guessing.
Maybe we'll get to see all 3 sub maps, technically.
Yeah. Before we even start the game, we see all 3.
Yeah, before we even start the game, we have to take care of a rulebook issue, rehost twice. Let's hope it's not any more of that, because frankly, I've been on some pretty cursed Overwatch broadcasts before. This hasn't scratched the surface of what I've seen quite yet, but
nah,
I'm gonna start getting a little concerned if it gets much worse.
I mean, if we get one more, then I have some questions for these players, but hopefully we won't get there. Hopefully we'll get a nice, clean, legitimate game of Lijiang Tower as former Jeff Kaplan would have wanted it. But still, you know, the other sad part about all this is we have no clue. We never really got to see like hero selects, so we don't have anything to go off of. We still can't really talk about anything, unfortunately. But surely this time, surely this time we are ready to go. Because at this point we're just kind of looking like the NASA launches. It's, you know, we count down, stop, count down, stop. Like surely we're looking like Elon Musk and SpaceX right now.
No, we look better than that. We
That's
definitely
true.
look
Right.
better than that. We're both more handsome than Elon Musk.
That you
That's
are
all
right
I'm
on
saying.
that, Ged. You are right on that, Ged. You are 1000%
And listen,
correct
and
on that.
listen, and listen. I may not be an artist, but I've never made anything as ugly as a Cybertruck. Just saying.
Just
Just
he's got a
saying.
point. He's got a point, chat. I can't say anything to that. He's never made something as ugly as a Cybertruck. You know, I can't say anything to that. All right, here we go. Finally, is it? I think it actually is the third sub map. That wow. Well, Getster, before we even start the game, we get the full world tour of Lijiang Tower. Remember how I said Control Center was going to be the interesting one to me? So at least
Yeah.
we'll get that one out of the way, and this will be a little bit more interesting because this is that kind of place where Venture would have shined for a team like Boontroop because of those corners you have to play around. It's a lot of hallways. The positioning is going to be very, very important. So we'll see if maybe the Reaper makes a return, if they even want to do that, if the Sim might even stay. I wouldn't be shocked if any of those things happen just because of how this map is.
Would not be surprised in the slightest to me, but all of these, I mean, Mari had my hopes up for a moment there. I know it wouldn't have worked very well, but like, just give me Doomfist. I want Doomfist back, man. I need a Doomfist meta again. I miss it so much. But it does look like everybody's going to be rolling out on some fairly standard stuff. Both support lines on the Curie Lucio. Haunt sticking on the recently nerfed Tracer, not minding at all, confident enough in the aim that it won't matter, but slight difference in hit scan here, with one team running the Sojourn and one running the Cassidy. But Amnesia, first to fall, body blocked by Mari, unable to escape, and that's just your ticket to a free fight win at the very beginning of the map.
Yeah, maybe a little too ambitious trying to take the space there. Didn't quite have the team backup. It's worth noting that Boontroop, they are playing the much shorter brawl, you know, traditional brawl E-based comp where Pyro is really dependent on having some sort of these angles to kind of get value onto. You can see they're trying to rotate towards that coastline, but they can't quite get it.
They're going there as best they can, but Amnesia once again being cut off from the rest of the team. He's stuck, and Mari is the block in between them. So another fight win for Boontroop, and this is starting to feel like a little bit of a pattern. We're barely into this, and Mari has double Amnesia's ult charge.
Also, Rajim has a whole ass sound barrier, Ged. I mean,
What?
that is, yeah, has already built up sound barrier on the side of Boontroop. Salmon does
Okay,
take
though.
the first fight though, so that's a good opening pick.
A great opening pick for Amnesia, and you see immediately Tarnished going in as quickly as possible, but that sound barrier you just mentioned expended instantly, and Pika Pepper is the victim in this fight to go down next. A couple players do fall very low, and Pyro does get shut down immediately after using that overclock, but on the bright side, at very least, amidst all of this madness, Tarnished does flip and get about 13%.
I suppose that's the consolation prize, Ged. It was something. But, I mean, Boontroop still basically won that for the price of a sound barrier, which is still low. They have 3 others, and Amnesia's barely coming into their own baton. So I'm watching Pika Pepper here. Sound barrier's up. This is their only defensive. They have to use it.
Yep, and Deadeye comes out here just too late to save Leviah. Just a tiny bit too late on the draw, but Mari managing to find Pika Pepper with the usage of the Terra Surge, and the opposite Terra Surge simply doesn't get anything. More players continue to fall into 80% now. Boontroop is looking really good.
Jeremy making the swap over to the Fari here. Just don't need the Reaper. I mean, you technically could have just stayed on it. You were winning the frontline duel, but at 90%, this is just kind of making sure you really punish the lack of a formal hit scan on the side of Tarnished.
98 in building. And overtime is triggered here, but I don't know how Tarnished are going to be able to contest this for super long, especially with Amnesia going down. Consta pumping so much damage into Tarnished. A headshot to take Pika Pepper out of the equation. Another to take out Haunt. And despite the fact that Pyro is finding a couple of picks here and there, and the point keeps getting triggered, and overtime keeps getting reset, eventually that will not be the case, and Boop Troop takes this first point.
I mean, the 13% is, again, a nice consolation prize, but the reality, Get, is that would have been 100-0. Like, if we didn't kind of just steal that away, this would have been 100-0. Boop Troop never lost a fight and just kind of owned the map from moment one. But I mean, that's the way it kind of is here. Coming around to Night Market, we'll have to see if any real changes come through. I don't expect Jeremy to actually stay on the far right. It would be good here, just given it would be good just given the kind of coastline. Some people choose it, but I don't know if they'll decide to. Tarnished gonna go over to the Diva here. I actually do kind of like that a little bit more if you're expecting the Pharah, and that was the right call to make there. So you're gonna have to put Amnesia on a much deeper level of defensive play with this Pharah.
Oh. And I mean, before really any of the action can pop off, that's an early first pick from the side of Tarnished, but I mean, they are able to clap back. They get Pyro, they get Haunt out of there, and Salmon on this Life Weaver, somewhat unconventional pick at times, but shows its value every now and then with a pull like that. Mari really, realistically, should have died there, but Salmon saving the life.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if that sticks, because I don't know that you're... I guess maybe that's a little bit easier to also hit the Pharah. You love a Mercy, but you also want to get a lot of the value and still survivability. So Weaver actually I kind of buy here just to support Jeremy, but Jeremy's not even going to get the kills in the feed. They're just kind of peppering in the damage.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Mari just holding forward battle cattle style. 2 picks in that fight, and Jeremy finding Amnesia for the effortless appearing final pick.
Well, again, 2 fights in a row for Boop Troop. They are looking very strong here. Ultimate's now online. Consta does have the Deadeye. I mean, nothing is close on the side of Tarnished, unfortunately. The Kiriko Kitsune Rush is close, but it's still a ways out.
Yeah. The pacing of this map right now is so fast. It feels like as soon as a fight ends and people have respawned, it begins the fight all over again. A 1-for-1 trade super early, but Lucio goes down as well in the midst of all of it. Pika Pepper out of the equation, and so is Levia. Amnesia might be able to get out of this one alive, but there's no way Haunt is.
No, not happening. I mean, this all makes sense when you think about it. Boop Troop being like the number 1, number 2 seed, top seed, they're going to pick up much lower. Like, on paper, this is kind of what you would expect to see. Mari with the spin. We've got a tree also available, so I'm very curious to see how the tree versus Kitsune Rush plays out here, because you could just straight kind of interrupt that if you time it right.
There's a lot of ultimates about to come online for both of these teams, but I mean, that Kitsune Rush gets popped and immediately Levia goes down, so not the outcome
Trades,
you
though.
want to see if you're the side of Tarnished. But you do start getting trades, and it remains to be seen if they will go definitively in your way, but you have a couple of players down. You have players alive and near the point, but at 97%, you need to get them on there and start the capture. Amnesia and Haunt are still there, and they might be able to get something done, but Jeremy, off to the side somewhere, is able to find Pika Pepper. The Lucio going down is so crucial here. The hinder onto the Tracer of Haunt is dangerous, but eventually the point will be capped with the help of the self-destruct, but the remix simply will not be enough. This should just be Boop Troop taking the first map extremely definitively.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, it'd be very easy to just kind of look at the paper, look at the schedule, and just say, oh, like the number 1 versus the number 8. Obviously, we know what's going to happen, but here in CGL, anything's possible. But sometimes, if it's just mathematically right and your team is that talented, yeah, this is just what's going to happen. They're going to win in a clean 2-0, and like you had kind of wanted to see. You wanted to see Mari's incredible performance. Well, you're getting it. Unfortunately, you may not like it because it's on Orisa, but you're still getting to see a lot of the prowess that she brings to the tank role, and kind of why she is one of those tanks that literally everybody in the Overwatch world has their eye on.
She's good. She's real good.
She's good.
I mean,
I don't need to sit here and glaze her. Like, she knows she's good. We know she's good.
We all know.
She good. She good at Overwatch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can't. I have no good analysis for that. She's just good at the game.
She's good.
She's
There's a
good.
lot of heroes she's good at too. I would love to see. I mean, I mentioned the Queen earlier. I would love to see the
Yeah.
Queen, but I don't think we're gonna see the Queen, especially with you know, several other tanks being significantly more prominent in the brawl like archetype right now. I mean, if we're gonna see a brawl composition, it's gonna be the Orisa, it's gonna be the Ramatra, it's gonna be something to that effect.
Yeah.
Way before it is the Junker Queen, unfortunately for me. But I mean, maybe one day we'll get Queen again. Maybe one day we'll get Doomfist again. Maybe one day I'll be happy again. But like until that day, we are still waiting on our second map pick. So I mean, we were talking a little bit about that earlier, but at this point, it kind of feels like a lot of teams have kind of conformed to the same couple of maps and
Yeah.
like really preferring them. Like if it's a control map, it's usually like Lijiang. Sometimes you get an Ilios if they're feeling like particularly dive centric. Once you
Yeah.
go to Flashpoint, typically it's Suravasa. You don't see a
Also-
lot of New Junk City. You see Atlas sometimes. I saw Atlas last time I casted CGL, and that like threw me off entirely. But
Yeah.
it seems kind of standard at this point, right? And then hybrid, mostly Kings Row.
Yeah. Everybody's got the maps they scrim. They prefer to see whatever they consider the most balanced map, or based on what they want to play. You know, considering, I'm just kind of trying to think for Tarnished. Like, considering you also showed that your tank player likes to play Winston, part of me is like, I don't know, maybe push a dive-centric map, but we all know Mari's going to be able to match that, so there's not like a real advantage you can get, at least from that. So my guess, is we're probably going to see something in the realm of expected picks. We're going to see a King's Row, we're going to see a Saravasa, we're going to see, I mean, people don't even really want to play Escort. Maybe a Dorado is probably the most played Escort at this point. Something like that. We'll see something pretty formulaic. And then we'll have to look at the bans to really kind of see what happens, because I do think that the map, short of, you know, because both of these teams are going to be able to know how to play dive. Sometimes you get a situation where, you know, one team is just, they're not a dive team, they're a brawl team. Both these teams can do that. So I don't think you're going to look for a matchup kind of advantage. I think you're just going to have to look to the bans. With Venture being back in is going to bring in an interesting piece for Boop Troop. But at the same time, like, what is Boop Troop afraid of? They don't really need to ban out anything that I don't think they saw anything they were really afraid of.
Yeah, I don't think that there was anything. I mean, I can't put it any better than you did. Like you aren't afraid of too much on that squad. I mean, they got a total of like what 24% in that first map.
Yeah.
And I mean, Tarnished is a great squad. There's a reason
they're good.
here in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, when they get trounced like that in a map, I mean, they have to think carefully about where they're going and what they're banning out. Because if you don't, if you just put in like the minimum effort, the minimum thought, the same thing's gonna happen. If you want like an actual chance here, you need to really dig deep. And
Agreed. No.
they're not gonna give you any room to breathe.
No, I agree completely. It looks like, hey, we're right on easy. Saravasa. So this is going to be the interesting one, because this is telling me we're also playing more of a ground game. It tells me Tarnish wants to keep brawling. So yeah, the other thing is that this is a ball map. You know, depending on who you ask, ball gets a lot of value here. So there's a chance that maybe we try to see one of these teams swap into some cheeky ball behavior. We'll have to kind of see again what these bans lead to, because things like the Reaper, things like the Venture still get a lot of play. And if Tarnish initially got rid of the Venture as like a targeted ban just to make sure Boop Troop couldn't play a preferred hero, I feel like I don't even know where I would go from here. I don't even know. Like, you could get rid of Orisa, but that also hurts you if that's what you want to be playing. So I don't know that there's like a great pick.
I mean, if you want to lean into brawl, but you don't want to ban out the Orisa, I mean, you could always ban out like we saw a little bit of the Diva come out as well.
Yeah,
there.
Diva wouldn't be a bad pick, but Lucio, okay. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, no, I like that. If they feel, because Tarnish were essentially getting run down on the first map, you kind of called it out. Like, their fights were over before they even realize what's happening. So they're trying to slow the game down by forcing out Lucio. I actually really respect that. I think that's a great way to try to answer the problem. Boop Troop, again, I don't think you care about much. Maybe you take Sojourn because that was the one thing you weren't playing. Maybe you go ahead and get rid of. Maybe you get rid of Orisa because you're going to play ball. I don't see it. I don't see anything. Yeah.
Maybe you get rid of Cassidy because that new buff is kind of ridiculous. But the Diva is banned out. Am I just like a genius? Am I just a prophet today?
You did call that. You did say the Diva. Yeah. Because to be fair, Mari really did only go to Diva after.
No, it was Amnesia on Diva.
Oh, it was Amnesia. Sorry. No, but Mari did match as well. We do have a.
Oh, you're right.
Tarnished. Yuri is coming in, so that will bring in probably. I mean, they're a Tracer player. I wouldn't write that off as probably what they are to do here because there's a lot of small side angles for a Tracer. Pulse Bomb's still very lethal, and like we kind of talked about in the pre-show, if you can hit those shots, if you're have the aim for it, those kinds of projectile nerfs were pretty meaningless in a lot of ways at this level.
It is going to be interesting for sure going into this one. We're back to Suravasa, which I also called, by the way. Go back in the VOD.
Yeah, no, you did. You're right.
I totally did. I'm a genius. I totally haven't just been obsessed with this game for 7 years.
Far too long. Far too long now. Let's see. Mari on the Mauga. I actually hear me out. That'd probably make a lot of people unhappy. I actually wouldn't hate that. I think Mauga is kind of underratedly strong right now, and even into Orisa, I do think that that's a good place to be. Pyro's still gonna lock in that Sojourn. Interesting. Like Boop Troop kind of adapted what I thought they would do. They bring in the Juno for speed, and Salmon's over on the Brig. Interesting. Consta over to the Echo.
Interesting. And Jeremy on the Ashe as well. That's an interesting lineup of characters that's some changes. Yeah. For sure. I mean, a whole lot of unconventional stuff. I think that this pick from Jeremy is not bad at all. Unfortunately, a railgun to the dome will halt anybody in their tracks. What an unfortunate first pick to have to give up. And I mean, Mari also just trying to get into the back line and do whatever damage she can, but it won't be enough. Regime also falling very low to a headshot from a railgun, but it won't be enough to kill, at least not yet. Leviah will be the one to do it with a damage orb of all things, as Tarnished will take the first fight win here.
For what it's worth, I did say I liked the Mauga here, but there is still a level of like you can't just charge in blindly. Like Mauga's not still gonna. What a shot! Wow.
Whoa.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Like you still have to play to your sight line of your supports. You can't necessarily just live forever on Mauga, so respect to that. Let's see, we got the Moira coming up with the Coalescence. Seems kind of insignificant, but that can be the difference maker in a tough situation. So I do think Tarnish has a slight advantage in the ult economy there.
Jeremy, in the midst of all of this, by the way, has swapped over to the Venture, so we are going to be not seeing the Ashe, which makes me a little bit sad, but not shocking, really. This is, I would argue, a better character than Ashe, so yeah. Salmon eventually falls victim to that Coalescence that you were pointing out, and Consta also falling pretty early in the fight, and I mean, as the numbers just continue to dwindle for Boop Troop, this point just does not look like something they're going to be able to recontest and take, as 90% ticks past, and the only player left is Mari, who has to run away to preserve her life. The first flashpoint goes to Tarnished in 100-0 fashion.
I mean, that's a pretty great response for Tarnished here. You're kind of on a very odd comp, but it is still all very survivable. It's very highly mobile, which is exactly what Tarnished want to deal with. There's no one that anybody like Boop Troop can really isolate or like kind of land on, which is what Mari wants to do. So, ooh, the stick is big against two.
Okay, 2 players dead to that one, but I mean, the response from Boop Troop is excellent. Salmon popping the rally, and no other ultimate is required. A full team kill, despite an excellent Pulse Bomb and an excellent Terra Surge from Yuri and Amnesia. And Boop Troop still take that first fight win.
That is the most Boop Troop win. They go down 2, invest ults, and just decide they just decided they wanted to win. It was straight up that. All right, cage fight. We have excavation. We've got a duplicate all up here.
And the
everything's in yet.
Yeah, everything has been thrown in. including the kitchen sink, but Pyro is going to take out the temporary counterpart as the cage fight goes down. Mari pops that with so little health, but Jeremy is able to get the cleanup. This venture has been on fire so far.
Yeah, and you're kind of seeing it right there. That's exactly why we took rid of it in game one. Jeremy knows how to play the Venture. You know, it is one of those kind of similar to Doomfist heroes in a lot of ways. Like, if you know how to play them, you are a nuisance. Like, Venture, they are crazy good in the right hands. Regime does have this Ray. I'm not crazy on it. It's going to have to be very positional based, so they're probably going to have to take this early and try to drop it where they can kind of get any sort of people caught into it.
And they pop it pretty early here, but Mari pretty far away from where it is. Doesn't end up mattering. Players on the side of Tarnished will not be able to hold on to this one. And right back in their faces with another 100-0 point. I mean, Boop Shoop, what a response.
Yeah, I mean, again, it just kind of was the character mismatch, honestly. Like, the Ashe was an interesting thought. You think you're playing against the Sojourn, which both have their advantages and disadvantages in the mid-range, but, I mean, Jeremy on this Venture is just so strong. When you look at the amount of disruption that comes out between Mari, between Jeremy, and even between Consta, like, that's just so much value.
Excellent little bit of, like, micro-aim there from Mari. Unfortunately, it's simply not enough to take Pyro out before the sustain comes in and the Coalescence cleans up the fight. Levia only needs to use that one ultimate to really turn the tide of things. And I mean, this is the thing with Moira, right? Obviously, not the most prevalent flex support out there, but that ultimate can be so ridiculously impactful.
I mean, you and I kind of know that firsthand. When things get kind of tough, Moira sometimes can just do enough healing and damage that you don't need any silly tricks. It's going to be the rally met in, and Consta opening it up again. The Boop Troop again, just get first two, make it good for two. Oh my gosh, this fight's over again.
It's done. It's done. I didn't even get to play-by-play here because you were
done.
Making an excellent point and the fight ended. It's like, all right. Boop
That's
Troop
Boop Troop, man. That's
Take it
Boop Troop
back.
flip. They know what they're doing. It's okay. I'll keep it short of this time. Pyro did die with Overclock. So Pyro coming back with Overclock, actually considering their last one got 2, can be very big. But, I mean, you have Consta with their own Overclock. Jeremy has their tech shot coming in. So it's going to be very difficult for Pyro to get value here with all this disruptance.
Yeah, very difficult, especially with Mari popping the cage fight directly on
the tech
top
shot
of
for
her head.
2.
And, I mean, it was a great series of ultimates there from Boop Troop. But unfortunately for them, Yuri was outside of the cage and managed to get back in and back cap, gaining like about 10% off of that, which you will take every day of the week. But
yeah.
I mean,
this is just not a comp you scrim against either, again. Like, this is just not something you see all the time. So you can't adequately prepare for this.
definitely
Consta
not. Yuri gets annihilated. And Consta popping that ultimate Overclock just so strong. That's the point. That's the point.
Yep, that's it. We're done here. No chance to touch. Point 2 goes the way of Boop Troop. We go on to 3, and you know, again, it was a slow moment, a slow warm-up for Boop Troop, but they kind of got everything together. Tarnished now going to make that response by switching Yuri off of the Tracer to the Genji, and you called that out a little bit earlier with Tracer's buff. Tracer kind of taking a little bit of a hit. A lot of players are looking to Genji now, so Yuri, again, has a lot to go, but that's their best chance of playing a flanker that can still make a lot of value.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we're seeing a high amount of effort put into this fight here, but unfortunately Salmon goes down very early. Regime popping that orbital ray in an attempt to keep the team alive, but it simply isn't enough, and Tarnished once again taking a pretty good opening fight on a point here. A lot of them are very low on health, but I don't think it's enough of a concern for them to not give up this point.
No, I think that this is kind of similar to the Tarnished we saw on, point 1, right? They came out, they played as a good team. You can tell their comms kind of stuck together, and everything looks right.
Okay, I really thought that was going to catch Salmon, but manages to get out after popping the rally for just a little bit here, and that was a Coalescence that simply couldn't turn the fight. Too much was going on, too many damage numbers, too many healing numbers, and eventually Boop Troop does flip it back over after a team wipe. and that one was costly for Tarnished.
They threw a lot into that. Yeah, they threw 2 in, and I mean that was kind of what it needed to do. It got up 34%, but considering Boot Troop didn't commit nearly as much, that's fine. An early cage into the Venture ult is going to be painful. It's done.
I mean, we don't even need the Venture ult here. We're just gonna like look.
Yeah,
at them.
Jeremy's looking
They're
like,
all
where'd
gonna
they
die.
go?
Yeah, where'd they
Yeah,
go?
Jeremy's
They're
straight
all
up looking.
gone.
Yeah, Jeremy's straight looking for him like, where did they go? I thought there were enemies here. Yeah, no, and now they're gonna take the sneaky angle for this. Tarnished has to make sure they watch their angles. They have to check.
Oh, Jeremy.
Good opener. Good opener.
Okay, excellent. Tectonic shock popped. In goes Jeremy, but they are so cognizant of this. They are so terrified of this Venture, who will just get out of dodge as quickly as possible. Mari, all the way down to half health. Salmon going down in the midst of all of it. Yuri pops the blade, takes Salmon out of the equation, and this should just be a flip. But 96% for Boop Troop. All they need to do is get one more fight win, and this map is definitively over. Yuri barely managing to escape as it stands. 1 HP on this Genji. Eventually, Pika Pepper will finally arrive and assist the Genji. Out goes the Kitsune Rush onto the point in an attempt to hold onto this for as long as possible, but Pika goes down. Jeremy with a phenomenal pick on this Venture. This particular hero pick has been so good the whole time, but it can't save you from the burst damage that a Terra Surge provides. But eventually they lose out on Amnesia. That tank presence, that point presence is no longer a factor. Tarnished has to make do without the Orisa for now. Doing a little bit in terms of progression towards flipping the point, but you have to dislodge this Malga, and that becomes so difficult at a certain point, especially with the Brig returning to the fight. Genji does eventually go down, and I think they have one more touch with this Orisa, but they don't even get there. Boop Troop again managing a fight win here, but this one was definitely closer.
This one was a lot closer, Dad. I think even at the 3-1, it'd be very easy to go, oh, Boop Troop wins again. No, they actually had to fight quite a lot here, and a lot of this damage was particularly to this person right here. Jeremy, just on this Venture. You see why it was banned out in game 1. This is the thing about just a good Venture player. They are a nuisance. They are a menace. That comp has so much disruption. You feel like you're back in like Overwatch 1 classic, like, you know, tank play where you're just constantly stun locked and up in the air and stop and you can't do anything. But that's how they win, and that's what it takes. Even if you aren't crazy about it, sometimes it's as good as just playing a niche character very well.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, can we even be calling Venture that niche anymore? I feel like
Not
they're
really.
seeing a resurgence at this point. Not even resurgence, a surgence. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess.
Just surgence, yeah.
Like this is. I feel like 2025 has been the year where Venture has really come into their own as a character. I mean, we're seeing players in OWCS that have been like popping off on this character, and now in CGL, it's trickling down, and players, for example, like Jeremy, have been popping off. It's been really awesome to see.
Well, we're going to pop ourselves off to a break, so hang tight. We got game 3 and match point coming up after a few moments.
We've seen 2 maps of Overwatch so far in this series, and because it is a best of 5, that means we still have at least 1 guaranteed map left. And if it continues down this path, it might very well be the only map we have left, because Boop Troop are playing phenomenal Overwatch right now, and Tarnished, despite looking a lot better on that second map of Suravasa, I mean, they still lost.
Yeah. Let's just say the bans forced them into an area that I don't think they were ready to play. So, you know, again, they kind of eventually had a decent hold onto that very disruptive Mauga venture comp, but it didn't, not enough to overwhelm it. And because of that, they now have at least a map 3 choice. So we'll get some bans first, and then we'll figure out the map here. Ged, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, man. I don't know. Like, I feel like you're not the bait feels like take the Mauga out. It doesn't matter. You like the Mauga is just gonna get replaced by something else. You already got rid of Venture, so you're kind of stuck there.
Hear me out. Ban Mercy.
Freya.
Nah, Freya.
Okay, that actually I think also does tell us kind of where we're going map wise. So sure, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Boop Troop. I don't know, man. You make it you do the funny and ban out Moira.
You could do that. I unironically, I think you could do that and get away with it because the Moira was genuinely a reason that they were able to take a couple fights here and there in Suravasa. Just being able to take that away from them because you aren't going to play Moira. Like, you've been comfortable on the Curie Lucio this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, the true haha funny is get rid of, like, Lifeweaver or something. Winston. So, okay, we haven't seen dive out of either, but this tells me, so we didn't get to look at map yet, Ged, but if I had to kind of reverse engineer this, it's like Gibraltar or Circuit Royale would also been in my next one. Freya gets a lot of value on those kinds of longer sight lines, and this is kind of one of those niche maps where she gets a lot of play. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of weird to be saying that Freya, niche map where she gets a lot of play. It feels like only like a month ago she was kind of dominating.
Everywhere, yeah.
You know, she was everywhere. Yeah. She was completely all over the place, and it's wild because this character is so strong, but definitely not the horror she was at launch.
No, we've once. I'm gonna copyright this phrase now. Once you kind of get the post-launch nerf stick hit, that tends to happen with all these characters. You kind of start to really see where they start to settle and where they kind of end up. And on these kinds of, you know, Widow replacement maps where it's like you have a Widow, you want like an Ashe, you want a Hanzo. She's very good for this kind of a map. She has a lot of places that she can use her abilities to kind of get in and out of and be sort of like a backline tracer where you're not necessarily able to always keep track of her, but she's able to just kind of hit shots and put pepper and damage that will just basically one-clip you.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the big question mark I have at this point for both of these teams is what they're going to run out with on tank, because obviously with Winston off the board, you still have options for dive, particularly that Wrecking Ball that I know Mari is particularly proficient in. You have the poke options of like
We get
Sigma.
some good honest. Can we get some good honest
Sigma.
Sigma again? Yes, we
Sigma.
can.
Then we
We
get
can
some
get some
Sigma
good,
gameplay.
honest
we
Sigma
can get
play.
some Sigma gameplay in 2025. I am with this. I am
Yes.
very with this.
Look, I'm here for some good, honest Sigma poke play here. Jeremy over on the Widow. Pyro's gonna stay locked into Sojourn. I agree. Consta's gonna take the flanker, and Yuri's gonna match that. Yeah, let's go. Give me that Sigma with a Bap Zen backline like Tarnished has got. Beautiful. Regime is gonna go over to the Wu Yang. Still a very, very dominant force here. Just with the amount of damage that can be peppered in without having to put a face out there. Still very good. So this is gonna be a very interesting match, I think. Just from the backlines, what the backlines want to do alone, I actually am very interested to see how this plays out.
Only thing that would make this more perfect is Pyro matching the Widowmaker. Just give me the Widow duel, man. I miss Widow duels. It's been too long.
Never. Nah, we're past that era, Ged. It's over.
I miss them! Anyway, going into the beginning of the fight proper here, this cart is moving a decent ways forward, obviously. Nothing too special, but Boop Troop have allowed it to get around the corner here as both of these Sigmas are just poking each other out right now, trying to win the war of do damage to shield and eventually break it, maybe put a rock into the opponent. But the first pick goes the way of Tarnished. Pyro finds Jeremy pretty early, and eventually Yuri will find the pick onto the opposite number in Consta. So this payload is already moving very, very quickly, a minute into this one, without a proper fight really having broken out here. Both of these tanks kind of still just poking at each other.
I mean, this is what we know Secret Rail to be, and honestly, this is kind of for a while what we knew Mari to be. Mari was a very, very good Sigma player, so I'm not surprised. A great timed inward play, beautifully done.
Yeah, gorgeous immortality field and gorgeous dash from Yuri to take Consta out the moment that Genji fell low. 2.82 meters remaining before this is a 0.1 capture in a very long extended first fight, and yeah, that's just gonna be it there. Eventually Yuri's gonna find a couple more kills on the exit, but I mean that's a very successful first fight and first point for Tarnished.
Yeah, honestly, this is the best we've seen Tarnished looked. I'm not going to say all game, but this is the best we've seen them, I would say, kind of in an overall map picture. They are making progress. They're winning fights and chaining it together. Now, the negative to that is that Boot Troop is 4 or 5 ultimates. You know, sites kind of aren't as impactful, but they will kind of allow them to set up and kind of determine this. So really on, beautiful headshot, really kind of on Tarnished to just kind of eat away as many ults as they can.
Yeah, and I mean, they burn their own window and get team wiped in the process, but Boop Troop, they do use 2 ultimates in the midst of all that. Infrasight, maybe not the one you're super worried about drawing out, but
yeah,
I mean, the Tidal Blast is huge.
Tidal Blast is one of those bigger ones that is still, we've seen the impact, you know, day to day. Those stuns are so big. Blade is on the docket, though, for Boot Troop for Consta, so it's going to question into those blades. Here goes Consta.
And a blade. There we go. Manages to find
is there.
Pyro, and the Transcendence is in, so it's not likely Consta is going to be able to find another pick with the blade here. He will be forced to back away. Levia with a great classic response, honestly, but Amnesia eventually is the one to shut down the Genji with a rock directly to the face. Now it's just a matter of finding the way back into this one, but the Flux comes out, makes the connection onto, I believe, just the Genji, but it gets stunned! Oh my goodness. What a moment.
I would guess it was a rock is honestly my thought, but the blade for Yuri is up, goes for 1, looking for a second, finds the on for 2, and just pops right off. Yuri swings it back for him, and the cart keeps moving. Yeah, I say that was kind of the best case scenario in these kinds of longer poke fights. You want to be the one to use your ults last. You want to be the last one with something in your tank. And that's exactly what you're looking for. There'll be one last shot here to go into this. So Pika Pepper's window probably going to be the determinant. They want to take. I think they should try to take it aggressively.
I think so too, but at this point I think that Boop Troop have pushed up a little bit too far for it to be safely used aggressively. This gets popped behind the cart, and I mean, a lot of poke damage is going to roll through here, but the Tidal Blast gets popped anyway. The dash goes out, it hits onto Pika Pepper, who falls rather low, but eventually the peel is there. Regime and Consta both going down. And despite the fact that Yuri dies to some damage from the sleep dart, the cart still makes it to second point.
The damage was done. I mean, the Genji couldn't complete the kill. The peel, the communication was there, and it looks like Tarnished maybe who was a little shell shocked in game 1 and 2, have kind of got it all together here. 3 minutes means that 3.5 minutes means that they have plenty of time to, even if a fight goes wide. Jeremy now over to that venture, much more devastating here now that the sights are not needed. Amnesia coming into a flux as well, so I mean nothing to stop it. So this flux could actually be very meaningful, especially with that out of the way, with that Immort out of the field.
Jeremy is cracked.
Nope, never
oh
mind.
my goodness!
Yep.
Finds
Never
3
mind.
kills. Flux goes out, finds nothing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Pyro.
Okay.
Me too, man. I get you. Jeremy,
I get that.
in the midst of all of that, went back to venture.
Yeah. That's the feels of playing against a good venture player. You just kind of, you're just like, oh, okay, I guess I just lose here. Salmon gets an opening pick, and it's back to the drawing board for Tarnished, who with 2 ultimates up here. I mean, this is fine. I think you're fine with this up here, Tarnished. You have 2 ultimates up. You've kind of, you're tracking. You're fine with this. Like, give them, make them respect the space. You don't want to have to use one of these ults to get out. But you are in a position where, like, Pyro can get a couple of heads. There's nothing to stop you. You just have to make sure you don't, kind of lose these ults prematurely.
Yeah, it would really suck to lose out on valuable resources like that, but at very least you are able to get a pick on the Jeremy at the very beginning of this one, and a good flux to pick up a whole lot of Tarnished, but Levia with another excellent responsive usage of that Transcendence. And eventually Salmon pops the window from a very long distance away, but no instant value found out of that one. The blade is going to be popped, and Consta is going to be able to find Pyro, and probably Levia as well. Yuri, meanwhile, on the other side, also popping blade, only finding Regime for now. And Pika Pepper, what a shot onto the Genji to continue is, like, very short existence, but I mean, it's scrappy. It's back and forth, and eventually it comes down to Mari, but Tarnished are finally going to keep this cart moving a little bit.
This is kind of exactly what they needed here. They are getting to a point now where Tarnished at least have, even if they don't get the complete, getting into point C is still valuable. That means there's plenty of time to get a stop. Levia over to the Illari now. I mean, I like it a little bit better. You're not getting value. You're getting constantly dove as a Zen. I buy it. It's going to be Pika Pepper's window, the only thing here before Amnesia gets a flux. So, okay, I guess we're just going to keep fighting in the pool.
Oh,
sure.
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, Jeremy's just putting up as much pressure as possible up top, and it's good stuff here. I like this idea from Tarnished to put pressure on the high ground above the cart. The problem is the fact that you just can't consistently fight that, and that's a great rock from Mari. Our vision blocked by the pillar, but we can imagine that it hit, judging from the fact that Amnesia fell out of the sky. More damage dealt to the side of Tarnished. Yuri goes down, and now 30 seconds remaining. It's not looking amazing right now for the side of Tarnished, as many people throw themselves off the ledge, including Jeremy and Mari, who I don't think had to do that.
No, that was just for the memes. That was for the gram. We did that one for the socials. Like you said, Tarnished will have the numbers here. Pulse Bomb gets stuck to Yuri, so never mind. Consta good for 2. There's gonna be a touch. Yes, there's a touch.
There is a touch. They are moving forward technically, and they did find Regime, so that is something. But they find a couple more picks there as well. Pyro and Pika both out of the equation as it stands, and Jeremy is currently on a mission to ignore the cart entirely. Amnesia goes down, and that should just be enough. Jeremy has done their job, and they will only end up getting 73 meters on third. For those first 2 points, they looked really great, Soav, but third they got held real well.
I need to very briefly, before I get into the actual formal support of Tarnished in that push. Jeremy just interrupted the Genji dash forward. That's nuts. That is some high level calculus that I've never I can't do that, so that's wild. But Tarnished, anyway, to the actual important things here. Tarnished actually looked very good on that push. I really like it. I see why they took a gamble on this, just thinking, all right, we trust that our DPS can maybe do this. Pyro has been, we haven't been quiet on them, but Pyro has been shooting very, very well in the Sojourn, all things considered.
Yeah.
So this makes sense why they wanted to just say, all right, let's just put our faith in Circuit Royale, someplace where we can trust our DPS to get value and put the work in, and where maybe there's not as much pressure on, you know, the tanks, where Mari can kind of just win out the tank war. I actually really like that, and it worked. You can kind of see it in how far they got pushed, how they were able to combine a lot of those ultimates to really kind of make everything come together. And then their adaptation here to bringing in Illari, I think similarly just kind of acknowledge, look, the Zen was a great concept. It worked for the most part. We're just getting too bullied out. Let's go to something with a little bit more survivability that fills the same role with the turret. And I like that a little bit better. The question to me is, what does Boop Troop do? I mean, they're just going to run what they want to run. I see nothing wrong with this. This is the comp they want to play. They're all very good at these heroes. Like, I'm not shocked. I think the question to me is going to be, you know, Jeremy has to be the initiator here. Jeremy has to be the one to kind of set up these engages. And that's a lot of pressure on your kind of slaying DPS.
No Widowmaker shenanigans this time either. We are starting out on the Venture, the character that has been so reliable for the side of Boop Troop this whole time, but it is the Genji to find the first elimination here, and a couple more very likely to follow up. As Levia, Pika Pepper, Amnesia, they all go down. The blinding aggression from Boop Troop has just been incredible stuff so far.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of the Boop Troop special, right? Like, you're not necessarily scrimming nobody's really scrimming a Venture a lot of times, so you have to kind of, if you want to learn how to play it, you have to play against them. And between everybody's capabilities to put out damage on the side of Boop Troop, yeah, I'm not surprised we just one-fighted point A, and we're still kind of winning and trading out here. Like, they are just not going to let up and let these fights end, Ged.
Not in the slightest. And, I mean, a whole lot of poke damage as well from the side of Boop Troop. You pointed out earlier that the Wu Yong capable of putting out so much damage just without even being able to show face. But at this point, unfortunately for the side of Boop Troop, they have lost a couple of players, so Mari is forced to back away and probably will die here in the stairwell. Indeed, she will. But
I mean, you got what you wanted out of it. You kind of made your successful push. You made that first corner into a one fighter. That's what you wanted. Now, I mean, once again, no formal hit scan. Yeah, Venture is a projectile, so I kind of get it. It's, if you're a flex DPS player, that's a decent shot. But Yuri gonna go ahead and just get them shurikens into the skies. So maybe just feeling like the Venture is not getting the work done.
Wait, where was Yuri getting that kill there? Because he was still walking back from spawn. I'm confused, but I don't know that we'll ever have the answer. Mari will eventually find another pick on a Pyro here. Pika Pepper, having popped the window, will fall rather low. The Captive Sun will come out and take Salmon out of the equation. Levia falling very low, but manages to stay alive at least for a little bit longer. Eventually, though, Consto, will find the final blow, and just like that, once again, Boop Troop is moving.
You know what? Again, we've talked about it a couple times. How does Boop Troop keep getting away with this? They go down one, they lose the first blood, they go down two, and they still just kind of turn around and just immediately focus fire out everybody they need to. But as we round B, it's going to be up to Yuri and the Blade on Pyro. The DPS line here to make work. It'll be Overclock and Blade immediately from Consta.
Blade out from Yuri as well, looking to hunt down a support in the backline, manages to find Salmon. Pyro as well with the Overclock finds Consta. A lot of picks on both sides here, but it's eventually, surely going to go the way of Boop Troop just because they still have Mari alive. They can't dislodge this Sigma.
Hey, a lot of that comes, hey, put the respect on my man's Regime there. Like,
That's
Regime
true.
did so much work. It is so easy to just kind of say, like, oh, Sigma lives forever. Nah, Regime was putting in a lot of healing. Remember, that wave does so much. Oh, my goodness. Well, Boop Troop is coming into a barrage. Amnesia is going to give it up to the Diva here. You know what? You have a little high ground to contest. I buy it, sure. It's going to easily put the the eye on Jeremy as well, who's now off the Venture. It's going to be a little bit easier to keep an eye on them. So, a little bit of a toss-up here. I just want to see Tarnished get aggressive and try to win, and just try to push this fight and stop letting Boop Troop take the space for free.
Ooh, they get aggressive, all right, and Leviah pays the price for it. Going down first in the fight is not what you want to see, especially with Pika Pepper going down next. There is now no support remaining for the side of Tarnished. Amnesia is 1 HP. Yuri is very low. The D-Mech has come through. This Genji will eventually fall, and with all of the damage that cannot be avoided, Boop Troop complete the 3-0 sweep.
You know, it's really easy get on paper to just sit here and look at it and be like, oh, it's the #1 seed, like Boop Troop versus yeah, like easy, obvious, like 100%. It's very easy to say that, but Boop Troop just looks good. Boop Troop looks like a very strong team. You see exactly how they got to where they are, and a lot of it just comes from these players just playing their heroes at the highest skill they can. I'm scared for the rest of this bracket, Ged. That was a very dominant showing from Boop Troop. I'm afraid for this bracket. NA Open is going to be a bloodbath once we get into the top 4.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to be a bloodbath wherever Boop Troop finds themselves, because frankly, this was some dominant gameplay, and I kind of expect that we're going to be continuing to see some dominant gameplay from them going forward here. So again, huge congrats to them. Tarnished still obviously having a chance in the playoffs here in the losers bracket. I am very excited to see how far they can go. They have some very talented players on that roster, so I do not expect them to go out quietly.
Yeah, I think Tarnished, again, they looked fairly good when they were winning fights and they were winning rounds. You kind of see how they got into this playoff situation. And an open division is no joke, and for them to kind of get here and put up as good a fight as they did against a team like Boot Troop, I think really says a lot to their quality. We're going to have an interview, though, so we're going to take a minute. We'll have Salmon coming in from the side of Boot Troop in just a minute.
Welcome back, everybody, to the CGL broadcast here in Season 16 playoffs. We are joined by a member of our winning team tonight, Boop Troop. It is the one and the only Salmon, also the artist formerly known as Purple Salmon. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Well, slightly tired, but I'm here.
Hey,
Understandable.
we appreciate the time. We saw the attempted speed run of the match tonight, so you know, I assume you're feeling good. I mean, anybody, we were kind of talking a little leading into this. Anyone you really like excited to play? Anybody you were really like looking to see as you kind of progress up the bracket? Because you're going on, but is there anybody you kind of looking forward to?
If I'm being honest, I have not checked any of the other rosters yet.
Incredibly
kinda-
fair.
I've just kind of been chilling. Like, we were like really focused on Masters League season. We didn't get quite the placement we wanted, so we just haven't had full focus on this.
Incredibly fair. Then I'll keep the next question for you nice and simple. I mean, how are you feeling about the current meta? You know, it's kind of we're kind of stuck in Lucio Kiri backline for the most part, but like, how have you guys, you know, been kind of doing now that Masters? Have you guys like kind of adjusted? Are you feeling pretty okay overall? You think you're kind of meta proof here?
I mean, like, we're like figuring things out right now. We like took a long break, so we're like getting back into the swing of things. We only like really started scrimming about a week ago, so we're just getting back into it. The meta is pretty much Lucio Kiri. We've been experimenting with some like other things, but
Yeah,
not a lot of it's working out.
The main hero that stuck out to me tonight was Venture, where you just put Jeremy on Venture after map 1 where they got banned out and said, Jeremy, go kill. And it worked every single time because, I mean, this character is quite good and I think has been for a while, but just give a little bit of insight, if you would, into just playing the character a little bit here.
Oh yeah, I mean, Venture pulls an obscene amount of attention if you're playing it correctly, and if people don't know how to play into Venture. We learned that like months ago. We played like that Iliad qualifier tournament. We got Jeremy as a sub because one of our DPS couldn't make it, and Jeremy played ridiculously well, and we like beat a lot of teams that we at the time weren't expecting to beat, and so we kind of just like got Jeremy on as a Venture specialist, and we've been running it on certain maps, and it just has almost always worked out in most situations.
Yeah. Well, I say we won't ask for many more secrets, but I mean, hey, dude's good at the game. Anybody you want to shout out? I say dude's really good. Anybody you want to shout out? Anything you want to say before we let you back and get on with the Sunday night?
No, not really. Can't really think of anything off the top of my head.
All right. Well, thank you, Salmon.
Fair enough.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. And that's gonna do it for us this evening. I mean, short, sweet interview for a short, sweet series. We did not. I mean, there's really not a whole lot to say here. There's not a. At some point, sometimes you just don't have a whole lot of analysis to give because Boop Troop, they were the better team tonight and they played phenomenally the whole way through.
It turns out those Boop Troop kids are good at the game, but you know what? The good thing about finishing this up quickly is it gives you a nice little bit of a break to get in for our next game because we've got one more game tonight. We've got Aura Fury coming in against the Diamond Eagles, and well, I'm not gonna say that it'll be a good game, but I will say we've had 2 3-0s, so we could all use a little bit of we could use a 3-1 or a 3-2 in our lives tonight, Get, and hopefully they give us that.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to see it. But Soav and I will not be presiding over that one. We will be handing it off to a couple of other very talented individuals. I believe it is Monteneva and Megalas, right?
Yeah, Montenlas, yeah.
Yeah, Monteneva and Megalas, 2 homies, 2 extremely talented individuals, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of the broadcast. But for now, it is myself, Gedster, and Soav, my good friend over here, signing off. Thank you all for watching so much, and we will see you back here in just a couple minutes.